Warning: the radio broadcast you're about to hear was made by men and for men. It may at times seem a little rough around the edges, brash, and certainly not canonically approved by papal authority. But its content may indeed challenge you to become the man, father, husband God has called you to be. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another week of The Obligation. My name is Jason Murphy. So glad you are here. Been an exciting, crazy week. Had a chance to go on to Faith and Sport with Dr. John Aquaviva here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. Always great to be with John on the Faith and Sport show down at the studio in North Tryon in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have had a lot of stuff. We had our mixed bag. We had our grab bag of Instagram volunteers to come on and speak with us. And last week we had the tattooed trad Catholic, Carolyn Inglesi. She told an amazing story of her her reversion back to faith through the traditional Latin Mass. And there's so many stories out there, myself included, folks coming from the Novus Ordo or coming from no faith or even coming from agnostic, and even we've heard many stories of folks coming from even witchcraft and Satanists coming to the traditional Latin Mass because they've seen something true and something holy. But not just the traditional Latin Mass. We also have folks coming into the church through Orthodox presentation of the Novus Ordo Mass and good, Orthodox and reverent parishes. And so we also, big story this week, Shia LaBeouf, man. Golly, this guy, playing the part of Padre Pio in a film that's soon to come out. I've seen the trailer and it looks amazing. And he's coming to faith. He's converting from Judaism. A great actor who, really got into the part of Padre Pio. And he has been very outspoken about his conversion to the Catholic faith, especially through the traditional Latin Mass. And it's making a lot of noise out there, a lot of social media content, a lot of memes, a lot of content out there. So with that, we are, we're going to continue on our Instagram grab bag this week. And we had another gracious volunteer, and I'm super excited to talk to Shammy's Crusade. So his Instagram page is Shammy's Crusade. He is a Navy and Army veteran. He is, very involved in the social media evangelization, which is actually, becoming a great part of the Catholic Church. We're taking social media, which, can be used for so much bad, and the internet, so many bad things, and we're taking it and Catholicizing it and using it to spread our faith. So I'm very excited to bring on our guest. Looking at his Instagram page, he is a Catholic supremacist. I got you there. And he, degenerates, beware, degenerates will burn, and Deus Vult. And I love Deus Vult. I use that on a lot of my posts and a lot of my shows. So without further ado, I would like to bring on Jason Keith. Jason, I'm so glad you are here joining me today on The Obligation. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yes. It takes a brave person out there to jump on board with us here and come out and just talk. We haven't really met face to face. We've talked a little bit, heard a little bit about your story, and I can't wait to dig into it. I think our folks out there will be, love to kind of hear your journey, your path to the Catholic Church. Wow, it's crazy. But it's exciting, and it's such an exciting time to be Catholic. It's such an exciting time to testify to our faith. So if you could, tell me a little bit about yourself, where are you at? I talked, when I talked to the tattooed trad cat last week, where's she broadcasting from? Let me know, where are you hunkered down in, and we'll get into it.
So live in Level Plains, Alabama. It's literally right next to Fort Rucker. Been down here for quite a few years. Originally, my family's from Chicago, and I'm never going back to Illinois ever again.
No one ever goes back up. They only go down. No one goes back up. Yeah.
I mean, the snow is all nice and everything. It's just, yeah, like the roads are horrible and the taxis are horrible.
The
So,
Cardinals are horrible.
I
The
mean,
clerical Cardinals, I mean, yeah.
yeah, yeah, the whole parish the ordeal up there. And I'm saying I've watched videos from masses up there, and it's just horrible. Kupich
Cardinal
is,
Rocher, right?
yeah,
His stomping ground.
Cardinal
Yeah.
has done a fantastic job up there. Sarcastically speaking, of course, but no, I mean, I'll if I had to go to mass up there, I would definitely try to chase down a TLM because I don't think I can handle what I saw in those videos. But no, we go to NO down here on Post is the closest. There's also an NO in Enterprise, Alabama, and they're really good. They're really stripped down. The one on Post, they don't use all the bells and whistles. I mean, they use bells, but they don't use the smoke or anything. Mostly because the incense. They don't, because they're weird about fire hazards and stuff. So it's more reverent at the parish in Enterprise. But we try to hit up the shrine of the Most Blessed Sacrament every chance we get. That place is just amazing. Singing nuns and everything. I work a 9 to 5 job, not literally. I work from 5 or 6 to 2:30, 3:30.
So tell me a little bit about Shammy's Crusade. How was that born?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. So it all started about 12 years ago. Yeah, I want to say 12 years ago. I don't know. I just was invited to go. I was in the military meme community, so I was invited to be an admin of a rather large military page. And just started making memes, and drama went down, so I bailed on that. And then I got invited to another pretty big page, got huge. Drama went down, left that, tried to strike out on my own, and finally got my own page, got it big. Drama went down, and I got deleted. And it's just been, I've been through 11 pages. So the last one I was shut down on my own just because I didn't have any motivation. But then I opened up the one on Instagram, and I kind of found my niche. It was like I as soon as I started shying away from military memes to making Catholic memes, because my brain, I just think about memes all the time. It's cursed. So I noticed people would come into my my DMs, Messenger, and they would need help. As soon as I started switching over from military memes and the Catholic memes, the difference was huge. It was I was actually helping people. They would. I would try to help as much as I can. So they would call. They would they would message me and be like, "Hey, I'm following Catholic, or I want to go to RCA, or yada yada yada." And I try to help as much as I can. I'm, just a humble servant of God. But, and I had a guy, asking about, his daughter, because his, ex-wife didn't want her going to, mass or Catholic school or anything. And I was just like, look, man, because my go-to is when I get cornered is okay, talk to a priest, talk to a priest, or talk to and that guy definitely needed to talk to a lawyer. And it's, but I, love hearing, stories from converts and reverts and stuff like that. And it's just I pretty much done with military memes. I got no motivation to make those. So it's all Catholic now. And Shammy is actually from a term in the Army called, it's a shammer. It's basically a dude that's an E4, and he tries to get out of work. And because a lot of the work in the military is just redundant. It just does not need to be done. It's like cleaning out a Connex. They try to get you to clean out those big shipping containers over and over and over. Or painting rocks, or, trimming grass with scissors. So, Shammer is a guy that tries to get out of all that by going to, dental or, medical or just, quote unquote, because they usually end up in their room, just napping. And I love napping.
All work and no play makes Shammy a dull boy.
Well, so the name actually comes from me just running out of ideas for names, because I literally went through like 12 pages. So I just stuck with Shammy, and I went through a couple of iterations with that. It was like Shammy's Paradise and Shammy's this, and then ended up with Shammy's Crusade after I got converted, and then just stuck with that. So
it's awesome.
A lot of people don't a lot of people don't know what Shammy meant when I started running with the Catholics instead of the military people. I'm like, it's stupid. That's why.
I mean, my first instinct was maybe it was a Middle Eastern person named Shammy. I kind of, and in Crusade, I don't know. I was thinking, I couldn't tell. So
yeah.
So now I know. I know the story behind the story.
Well, I had a couple of orthos try to hate on my name because they're like, Crusade doesn't sound like a very good name. If you want to try to be friends with orthos, you should come to the true Catholic, church, the Orthodox. I'm like, dude, what I found out is like Catholics don't really have a problem with the orthos, but then it's like the orthos have a huge problem with the Catholics.
Yeah.
I'm like, why, man?
Yeah.
I thought we were, cousins or whatever. No, I'm friends with a couple of orthos. They like my stuff and everything, and I actually follow, some Orthodox pages. There's this one, it's messages from my monk, and dude just truth bombs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. And the icons are beautiful and everything.
Yeah.
It's just, man, they really don't like us. I think it's the whole Pope thing. They hate the Vatican, and they think that we've strayed away from our original. I mean, if they want to make that kind of argument, I can understand why.
Well, there's a lot of people aren't happy with the Pope right now, so I guess they're maybe in good company at this point in time. I don't know.
So. If you're allowing clown masses and beach masses, then they might have a leg to stand on.
Yeah. So we talked the other day, and you said something which was really interesting. You consider yourself the white sheep of the family. So we've of course heard of the black sheep of the family, but you consider yourself like a white sheep. I can actually kind of get behind that. I can kind of get behind that in certain respect. And my family will probably be listening and be abhorred if I say that. But so tell me a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit how growing up. What denomination? How'd you grow up? Faith-wise, what was that like?
Okay, so disclaimer: my fiance came up with that term.
Okay.
And it just and she nailed it when she called me that. It's just so when I was man, I just remember not really having anything to do, a whole lot to do with my family if I could help it. They're all together, they're all doing their own thing. I'm in my room, minding my own business, watching TV. If I had a TV, I don't remember at what point I actually ended up with a TV. I remember playing video games, whatever. Just minding my own business. And we went to church every now and then. It wasn't huge, but it was always like a Protestant church we had always ended up at, and I absolutely couldn't stand it. Like I was anti-Prot, and I mean, it was like, we go to a Baptist church and just get yelled at for just being us. It's like, well, not personally, but he was yelling at everyone like, this is what you need to do, and this is who you need to hang out with, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, why are you judging? Get off my back. You don't even know me, And then went to a, I don't know, like a Presbyterian, Pentecostal. I don't know. They're all the same to me. It's just, they screamed and they shook around, and they spoke in tongues,
right?
Which is funny because my fiance sets up her soap, Pax Lux, Pax Lux Essentials LLC. And she said so we set up at the farmer's market, and I was sitting there reading a book about the rosary, and this guy comes out of nowhere, and he's like, "You're always reading, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, I try to anyways, you know." And I showed him my book, and it was from the Warrior Rosary, I want to say. And he's like, "You need to do more than that." I'm like, "What?" You know, and he starts getting on to me. He's like, "You need to do more than read." I was like, "I got my rosary." He's like, "Ooh, prayer beads, but you need to do more than that." He started talking about speaking in tongues. I was like, "I'm learning Latin." You know, he's like, "No, you need to know more than that. You need to do more than that." I was like, "Yeah, you know, they got Greek and Arabic too." And he's like, "No, no, you need to speak tongues." And he just started ranting, and I'm like, "Dude, get out of here. I'm reading. Leave me alone." But no, so you know, like one of the straws was when I was with my sisters. And it was probably a Baptist church, and this dude was like, you know, Santa Claus isn't real, and it made my sisters cry, and I didn't appreciate that. Well, you know, little did I know Santa Claus is real. It's Saint Nick, you know, Saint Nicholas. I mean, come on, you know. Obviously, he wasn't talking about that because they don't have saints. Whatever. It's his
As long as it's not Nick Satan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. A little Alabama dig. Sorry. Go ahead.
You know, go ahead and dig out them all you want. I'm a Northwestern fan. So.
All right. But so go. So he ruined Christmas. He ruined Santa for your sisters.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was just like it was a battle. You know, every time I went to a church, it felt like disingenuous. So I went to two when I was down here. One, it was I want to say it was a Lutheran or a Methodist. I don't know. Like I said, they're all the same to me. And then I went to one a couple years before I met my fiance, and this dude was up there, and he was talking about how godless everyone up north is, and how they all need Jesus, and they needed to be saved and all that. And I'm just like, all right, yeah, that's cool. And then coming. Actually,
hey, Jace, we are coming up on our first break, so let's take a couple minutes here, and we're going to come back and we're going to hear about it, because I know there is quite a story here to tell. You know, after we talked the other day. And I really want to get into that. So we appreciate you sticking around. My name is Jason Murphy. Thanks for tuning in to The Obligation. We are sitting down with Jason Keith, who is Shammy's Revenge on Instagram. Shammy's Revenge. Shammy's Crusade. I guess it could be both.
You don't have to add that, man.
It could be both. Revenge on these Protestants. So, but anyway, thanks for sticking around. We'll be right back. This is Jason Murphy for the Catholic Men's Conference of the Carolinas and the Obligation Radio Show here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. Catholic Radio is live and on the air at AM 1270, broadcasting from Belmont, North Carolina to the Charlotte regional area. Carolina Catholic produces more local content than most Catholic radio stations across our country. Tune in on air, online, on demand, and anytime at www.carolinacatholic.org. Make sure to catch the 2022 Catholic Men's Conference of the Carolinas replays each Saturday afternoon starting at 3 p.m. You can catch Keith Nestor, Tim Staples, Dr. Ray Garundi, our own Dr. John Aquaviva, and find out what the buzz is all about for the Catholic Men's Conference of the Carolinas. Also, make sure to tune in to the featured men's shows on Carolina Catholic, Faith and Sport with Dr. John Aquaviva, airing on Mondays at 5 p.m. and on demand, The Remnant with Stephen Thomas, Bill Snyder, and Ray Haywood, airing on Saturdays at 5, and my show, The Obligation, which airs at 5 p.m. on Fridays. Catch all of these shows and more at AM 1270, on air, online, and over the app at www.carolinacatholic.org. Once again, this has been Jason Murphy. God bless, and Esto Vir.
Did you know that 90% of older adults wish to stay in their home as they age? Aging in place has many benefits. It tends to improve quality of life, which in return improves physical health. Also, retaining independence as we age is critically important to our mental health. Hi, my name is Meredith Stignan, and I am the president of Harmony Home Solutions and an active parishioner of St. Patrick Cathedral. We are your trusted partner for aging in place. We strive to enhance the lives of older adults and their families by providing premier aging in place and universal design lifestyle solutions that increase safety beautifully. Now is the time to get your aging in place plan in order with Harmony Home Solutions. Visit our website today at hhsclt.com. Again, that's hhsclt.com. Or give us a call at 980-220-8821. Again, that's 980-220-8821. We want to help you live an empowered and beautiful life.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. We are sitting down with Shammy's Crusade. Jason Keith. My name is Jason Murphy. We are kind of hearing a little bit about Jason's path to conversion to the Catholic Church. And, we had to take a quick break, but now, Jason, go ahead and, let's pick up where we were. You had this horrible person, this horrible Protestant ruin Christmas and Santa Claus for your sisters. And then God had other plans for you. So let's pick it up.
I had little markers, little guideposts from, I want to say at least my early 20s. Little Catholic, hey, we're here. So, I always wondered about Catholicism when I was in the Navy, at least when I saw the priest, wearing the collar and everything. It just didn't, I don't know, it didn't ring the bell. I would just look at him. And then around the late 2000s, I ended up getting a green scapular in the mail, with a holy water and a little plastic blue rosary, right? Didn't know what they were for, how they worked. I drank the holy water because I had a toothache. Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
But I mean, hey, you can drink holy water. It's fine. I do it every now and then.
Absolutely.
So I kept the rosary with me until it broke. I don't know what happened to the green scapular, but hey, it worked because about I don't actually remember, 5 or 6 years ago, I had a severe car accident. I got T-boned going down a road I had never been on before. I ended up at an intersection, like a four-way, and it was only 2 stop signs. And there was no warning leading up to the fact that there was a stop sign. There were no, bumps or, warnings or anything. I was actually coming back from seeing my mom, who was in a coma at the time. And I got T-boned, ended up in the middle of the field. I blacked out when I saw the truck. I looked to my side, saw the truck, blacked out, woke up, broke out of the car because the door wouldn't move. And then after that, I had this gut feeling, and it was like a voice in my head almost telling me to join the Catholic Church. Wow. Kind of drug my feet because at the time I was working. I would go in super early. I'd wake up at 2:30, going at 4, and the mass in the town that I was living in was at 7 o'clock Saturday night, and I was asleep by then. I didn't have. I had the motivation. I just didn't have, the energy to go. And then met my awesome, gorgeous fiance, who just so happened to be Catholic, and it was hey, here she is, go to mass, convert. And it was our third date. I was like, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Talking about her and her parents. She's like, oh, we're going to mass. I'm like, I want to go. And we went, and I never stopped going, except for when I had the Rona. Yeah. That was about it. Yeah. I was a little late for RCA, so I went the year after. And then I got confirmed last Easter, not last year, year before that Easter.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
Man,
so it's been amazing. It's like the best decision I've ever made. Best thing ever happened to me.
That's great. Now, are you teaching now, RCIA? Are you involved now on that end?
Yeah, it was like as soon as I graduated, I was like, I got to do something. I want to do something. Been working on the Knights of Columbus front, but yeah, I help teach the Saints right now. I did that last year, and then I'm doing it this year. I'll get around to teaching a whole, class at one point. The people that do teach the whole classes, like they're professional, like they know what they're doing, so I'm just like last year, I was just dipping my toe in by, doing the Saints.
That's great.
Same thing with this year. I just want to help out.
Yeah. I mean, we're hearing a lot, it's almost like our Lord is gathering the strong ones together. He's dividing the sheep and the goats. And, we talked briefly, in the opener there, talking about Shia LaBeouf and, his conversion, playing Padre Pio. I'm sure you've seen the memes. I mean, there's the unending there every once in a blue moon, there's unending memes. There's only, they just don't die down. They go for a while. And I think this is one of those. What are your thoughts as a convert yourself, seeing his conversion?
I'm super psyched for him. I mean, if he's genuine, and he sounded like he was, he had to, he had a really great conversion, especially, you start researching like some of these priests. Like my patron saint is Saint Maximin Kolbe.
Okay, great saint.
Yeah, amazing. And at first I didn't realize why I picked him. It was just like when we were in the RCA, and I was listening to a story, dude, I cried. And my fiance wrote down, on the paper, patron saint, confirmation saint, ? And I was like, yes. Coming to find out, his first name was Raymond and my middle name is Ray. So go figure. But when I think about it, I think it was more or less his devotion to Mary is why it was like a perfect confirmation thing for me, because at the time I wasn't against it. I just didn't understand, the devotion to Mary. And then, reading about him and everything that he did, oh man, and his just straight up, he sacrificed himself to, just save another person. Yeah. And nobody can live up to that, that's amazing. I could just try, but yeah. So, good on him, man. I really hope he gets his, he needs a support system,
Absolutely.
Can't just be Catholic on your own. You need a good group of people around you, even if it's just a few people. Like I got my fiance and her parents, man, and they were amazing. They helped me the whole way. So I'm happy for him. I hope he got a good RCA class out of it. Like I'm pretty sure he did. If he was with a bunch of Franciscan monks, he probably had the best catechism like ever. So,
I think Cardinal Roche wants to join into that support group of his. I'm not sure how that's going to go. That was interesting to see. He said, "Hey, let's talk." You just kind of wonder.
I don't know
what that's going to be about, especially with, everything going on between the traditional Latin Mass followers and the Pope and the restrictions and obviously Roche, one of the Pope's right-hand man. You just kind of wonder, there was a LifeSite News article that came out, just basically saying that this could be the Pope's worst nightmare. I don't know if you go that far, but just talking about, where
like it does not look good for him if he has. I mean, really, Shia, whatever his name is, he's no different than me or you, but
Sure.
he is a celebrity, and
Right.
but he's going. He explicitly said that it's the Latin Mass that converted him. Hey, it is majestic. You can't take that away. And the Pope just, when he's closing down masses instead of opening more of them, so it's easier for people to attend mass and everything. Man, it's just why.
Yeah.
You should be encouraging people to go instead of shunning them away.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was looking at, and listening to some things today, and, you've got our president, obviously super divisive. He's coming out, you're laughing. Really? Have you never heard that? You're laughing. Basically calling anyone who's adhering to traditional values, who doesn't like big government, who supports the family and lower taxes, as ultra MAGA. And I think there's a correlation here between the ultra MAGAs and the traditional Latin Mass community, as far as the perception that's being conveyed by, the media, number one, which obviously there's a lot of agenda there, but the Pope, basically calling them restorationists and rigorists, and they're divisive, and they're stuck in tradition. Our faith is based on tradition. I mean, much of our faith is on verbal, translation of that tradition. Not everything that happened is through scripture. And we know that, some of it's through stories. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, it was, it just, they talk about, Protestants believe that miracles ended in the Bible, and if they do, then, or if they do happen in the modern day after that, big deal. But for us, we recognize that the tradition is just an extension.
There's apostolic tradition. I guess that's the word I was looking for. Is handed down. There are certainly things that have been handed down that not everything is going to be scripturally based, and certainly dogma throughout the years, that's defined by the church. And it's interesting, it ultimately is boiling down to, just an attack on conservatives overall, whether it's faith-based conservatism or, political conservatism. I feel like, they're kind of tied there together. It's a wild world to sit in and watch day after day, with what's going on. So it's a crazy world, and all the more reason why we need to be out there, evangelizing and using the methods we have these days. And honestly, like we said before, these memes, you can say a lot. In a visual meme, you can convey a whole lot of information these days, and it's interesting to see. I'm still very green at it, so I may have to take some classes. The Shammy's Crusade, Cliff Notes version of.
You can borrow mine. How about that?
I do my best. I'm still learning. I'm still kind of new to the game, but I think it's important. I think a lot of folks, especially, obviously, I'm 48. I think, you're in your 40s. You're a lot more advanced than I am in the posting, but there's a lot. You really can touch someone with those. I'm sure you've made a lot of connections and gotten really good feedback on a lot of your posts, because I've seen a bunch of them.
I get messages at least once a week from somebody new, asking for advice or help, and I'm just like, all right, hey, I'm here for you, and let me get you in touch with someone that could help if I can't, and stuff, So it's really just, if I can help someone want to go to RCA or want to go to confession. I had a guy that was like, hey, Shammy, I haven't been to, confession in a really long time. How do I go about doing that?
Wow.
He's like, look, man, it's easy. You just go. You
Yeah.
go and you open yourself up. You throw a white blanket over everything, because that's what I had to do on my first one. And then you just go every week after that. I
Yeah.
go every week or every other week. Padre Pio said that he wants people to go to confession every week. And, it's like you close a room and you lock it, you go back in after a week, there's going to be dust. So you just go, man. You make it a habit. You make a commitment to go, and you feel better after you get done anyways, no matter what. And then you get to receive the Eucharist in, state of grace. So, you don't win, it's a win-win situation when you go. So,
well, to that point, I mean, I got a message earlier from another friend of mine. He lives in Charlotte, but he's pretty heavy in on Instagram, has a pretty big following. And to your point of people reaching out, someone reached out to him today from Elmhurst, Illinois. Actually, I guess I'm not sure how close to Chicago that is. Probably, I don't think it's too far away, right? Or
I don't know. It doesn't sound it.
So, but basically, she was saying that their new pastor has canceled all Marian devotions, dictating to parishioners that they're no longer able to pray a Hail Mary after the 6:15 Mass in the mornings, and that if they continue to do so, they'll cancel the Mass, which is really, really kind of crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy, but there's a lot of stuff going on that's crazy. So,
Like a Jesuit.
yeah, highly likely a Jesuit, unfortunately. And Jesuits were such great order for so long, and now they've just kind of fallen off the radar.
I have a crash course on what was going on when I got converted. It wasn't black and white when you're looking out from looking in from the outside. It does seem like it's black and white. It's like Catholicism, rainbow, and everything is hunky dory. But then you get in, it's just like, man, it's like a friggin' hurricane, dude. It's just like you got the traditionalists getting suppressed, and the nervous ordos getting
abused like crazy,
And then you have these different orders, and it's just, and then poor SSPX, they're not schismatic, but then again, you got people that trash them anyways, just because they want to stick with the traditional mass. And it's just like, man. And then you got people. So funny story. We go to Mass on post, right? We go to Saturday Vigil. I'm the only one that kneels at Saturday Vigil. And only maybe a handful of people actually receive it on the tongue. I think literally everyone except for my fiance, her parents receive it. They receive it on the hand, like everyone, at Mass. Sure. And then we went to the Sunday Mass one day. Same thing. I was the only one that knelt, and basically everyone besides myself, fiance, and her parents, they received it on the hand. And it's like, what is going on here, man? And then and I heard excuses for it from when Vatican II came out. It was basically they were excited about the prospect of receiving it in the hand because they've received it in the tongue, on the tongue for so long. And I'm just like, man, no, I did the hand thing for a hot minute after I got converted, and then we went to the blessed, the shrine of the blessed sacrament, and it was just like, and everyone knelt. They had a railing. Everyone received it on tongue.
Yeah.
They didn't care how long it took. They were going to get everyone. They had a plate to catch the crumbs.
Yeah.
And it was only the priests gave it out. And it's like, why can't that be everywhere?
I mean, it just shows the respect to it. It's just not like a common meal. And, growing up, of course, if we went, we received on the hands. That was just what everyone did. And not until, I really was introduced to tradition did I really even understand that how important that was, and the reverence that should be given to the Blessed Sacrament. And, the priest's hands are consecrated, and that's why. And and he purifies his hands with such intention before and after, yet we just casually, follow the herd and, you take a Ritz cracker or you take a wafer and you drop it on the table, and, it's going to leave crumbs. And I mean, whenever I've seen people actually receive in the hands, and as they walk away, they just kind of do this. And I'm like, with the hands back and forth, I mean, don't you know that's just as much our Lord as the whole host itself? And
yeah, I listened to some guy talk about how after a piece of the host turns so small, then it's not considered Jesus' body anymore. It's just cracker. And it's like,
no.
Where did you get that from, guy?
Yeah, exactly. Does a Ritz cracker just become nothing when you drop it? No, it's still Ritz cracker when it drops. It's just a small portion of Ritz cracker. So,
one of my posts that I made about, kneeling and receiving on the tongue, and a lot of people did not like that. They're like, but the Eastern, the Coptics don't do it, and the Greek Orthodox don't do it. I'm just like, well, fine. I'm not them, and they're wrong. Just trying to lead by example, man, and people just don't, they don't care.
It takes time, and someone eventually, people pay attention. That's what we have to do. We have to stand out. I think we're coming up on time for our second break. We're gonna check out for a few minutes, let our sponsors jump in, and we will be right back and talking to Jason Keith from Shammy's Crusade. You're listening to The Obligation, and we'll be right back.
Hello, Carolina Catholic family. This is David Papandrea, founder and chairman of Carolina Catholic Media. Please join us during our 2022 Catch the Spirit Pledge Drive season, starting with Giving Tuesdays and culminating with our 36-hour Sacred Heart Share-a-thon, June 22 through 24. Your pledge will help us better plan and allocate resources to evangelize the truth of Jesus Christ across our 7 media platforms in the Carolinas. Every dollar raised goes back into the Carolina Catholic operating and capital expense budget to grow our apostolate. When you consider the state of the world and the extraordinary times that we're living in, with a cancel culture, unprecedented media bias, mistruths and disinformation everywhere, it's clear why Carolina Catholic Media is here. Our mission is to communicate the truth of Jesus Christ and the Catholic Church to over 5 million souls in the Diocese of Charlotte and upstate South Carolina. With that comes a commitment to create diverse local programs from our parishes, schools, and ministries. Our vision is to bring everyone together as one unified Carolina Catholic community. Carolina Catholic Media is a 501c3 nonprofit. Your financial gift is 100% tax deductible. To sponsor or donate, please email me at feedback@carolinacatholicradio.org or call me at 800-857-2909. That's 800-857-2909. We appreciate your prayerful consideration to support us during our Catch the Spirit Pledge Drive. May God bless you abundantly.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. Once again, sitting down with Shammy's Crusade, Jason Keith, coming to us from Alabama. And my name's Jason Murphy. We appreciate you sticking around. And we're just having some great conversation here, hearing about the conversion of Jason and how he's using social media to sort of evangelize and assist others who are kind of growing and learning, having questions about the faith. And just, the evangelization is so important. Jason, you were just, talking about, being the only one in your church, receiving on the tongue. And that takes guts these days, because everybody. What's that?
And kneeling.
Kneeling on, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that, it takes a lot to stand out and to show people a better way. I think people are so conditioned to what's easy and what everybody else is doing. We want to do the status quo, but unfortunately, our Lord does not call us to the status quo. He calls us to sainthood. He calls us to holiness. And I mean, we have gone to different Novus Ordo churches where they wouldn't even give you communion on the tongue. And then, there's probably people out there that disagree with my stance, but I've instructed my kids. My kids have never received in the hand, nor do I want them to, just to respect and understand the reverency and given to the Blessed Sacrament. And so we have foregone that in those churches, and we've found different churches that, of course, will allow us to receive on the tongue, and it's just important, and just for people to see that, to see that, we're respecting it. I've always thought the most easy way, we have like the year of St. Joseph, the year of whatever, the year of the Eucharist, whatever, the diocese here in Charlotte. And I thought the easiest way, if the bishop really wanted to have people understand what the Blessed Sacrament is, because we know Catholics today do not understand what the Blessed Sacrament is, and that's just fact. Almost less than 50% don't actually believe what they consume is the body. What's that?
Only 30% of Catholics believe in the true presence,
and that's a travesty. And to sit there and ignore that is haphazard. It's dangerous, and it's they're not fulfilling their duty as bishops and leaders. And I'm speaking to the priests and to all of them. And I thought the easiest way for them to teach that and to change the perspective was for at least the year of the Eucharist, we're going to place the Blessed Sacrament on everyone's tongue. And what a difference it would make. You would make some people very unhappy. Your boomers and up would probably, you'd probably lose some, but you'd probably gain a lot of believers. And that 30% might shoot way up when people actually understand what they're doing and see others respecting it the way it should be respected. What say you, Shammy?
I agree, but like I saw a thread where it was actually just pictures of it was like screenshots of people talking about how they just were never taught that the Eucharist is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. So so it wasn't really excuse. It was more or less nobody taught them. I can't speak a whole lot about that. I didn't know until I went to RCA. So but it's like, how do you go to mass? How are you a fully grown adult that's gone mass your whole life and not know? I don't know. It boggles my mind, man.
It's scary. I mean, and it's not just, it's not just belief in the Blessed Sacrament. It's the, it's the stance on abortion. It's the, right. I mean, it's the understanding of male and female as we are created, husband and wife. And the list goes on. The tenets of our faith have just been destroyed, and it's just unfortunately it's becoming cultural. It's these cultural Catholics. Yeah, we're Catholic, sure. And it just takes a little more. I was that growing up because I didn't know. I had never seen, but when I saw, and who knows? I mean, if I'd have gone into a Novus Ordo mass that was said reverently and the way it should have been said, it could have changed me. But at 20 years of being a Catholic and not once seeing anything that stood out as different, holy, otherworldly, which the Holy Mass should always be. There's a lot of folks out there. They just aren't. They aren't given it. They aren't being given the faith. They're being starved of the faith. And it's important for guys to stand up. And I respect and appreciate what you're doing out there. I think it's great, being able to be out there and be, because you're going to get those random messages and those random folks who are kind of lost. And, the social media, that's just the way it is. That's how, we communicate in a lot of ways today. And if you can reach someone that way, then I think it's great to be doing it.
I definitely try. It's not, but it's it's not like I get on there and be sappy or anything. And I knew one guy, and he would just his posts were so weird. It was just him. He was trying to evangelize, but it was like he wasn't using quotes from saints or anything. It was just him pouring his thoughts out into memes, but it was more or less him preaching to the choir, basically. I think he had nothing but Catholics, and having Catholics great for followers and everything, but then you also have to have the people that aren't Catholics that are willing to listen. You can't have hateful Protestants in your comments, them talking about their sola scriptura. I tell them, like, hey, look, sola scriptura in context is like saying the only thing that was worthwhile, that was worth reading about in American history is like the Revolution. And then you're saying that literally the rest of history of America does not exist. That's why we have tradition.
Sure.
Tradition
right.
is the extension of that.
Right.
It's like saying, and it's like going to history class. It's like, that's what I loved about RCA. It was history. It happened. Protestants, they just don't act like that.
Well, to your point, that's what the church has done for, almost 60 years. We've pointed to one place in history, Vatican II, and we've tried to pretend like the church began in the 1960s, and we've missed so much. There's so much we've missed, unfortunately, and we're trying to move with the world instead of bringing the world to us. You must have had a good RCIA program. I mean, I gotta think that you must have a good instructor, and they must have good formation.
We really did. I mean, we had a really good group of people. We don't really go to that parish. It's the one in Enterprise. We still go to the one on Post mainly because we absolutely love the priests. Nothing wrong with the priest at St. John's. He's great too. Father Zach is awesome. Our main priest got transferred to Korea, and we said that because he was, it's an army post, and they only stick around for 2, maybe 3 years. And we said that if he left and we didn't get good priests, we'd start going to St. John's. Well, then we got really great priests. We got really 3. Well, one had to go back to his parish, wherever he was from. He was my first confession, okay. Father Ryan. But then we've got Father Eugene. He's from Ukraine. Oh man, that dude's so holy. And then we got Father James, who is awesome. He loves talking, and he gives really good advice. And they both helped me out a ton. But we try to volunteer as much as we can at St. John's because the parish on Post doesn't really have opportunities, for you to donate your time or anything. So,
gotcha. So what's next for Shammy? So what's on the horizon? Marriage coming up? Got a date yet?
We've been engaged 2.5 years.
Yeah,
we were going to have like a small wedding, and then it got to a big wedding, and now it's just like we're going to grab a priest, a couple of witnesses, and get it done. Try to get it in Latin if we can.
There you go. Well, appreciate you taking the time. We're coming up on the end, and man, I look forward to following along. If people out there want to find you on Instagram, what's the best way to locate you out there?
Shammy's Crusade. I'm on Instagram, and I'm back on Facebook because I'm in a few Catholic groups now. I was in a bunch of veteran groups, and I just could not see eye to eye with those people anymore. So I left all those, and I joined a bunch of Catholic groups, and so I share my memes there and try to at least drum up conversation, anyways, between, those people. So most of my evangelization is through Instagram. But yeah, Shammy's Crusade. And then my fiance, if you ever want to talk to her, is Pax Lux Essentials. But she makes bath bombs and lotions and soaps.
Cool.
Nothing to do with this, but I don't care. She didn't want me to.
You got to plug away, man. Hey, happy
it.
wife, happy life, right? There you go. All right. Well, thanks again, Jason, for coming on The Obligation. We look forward to speaking to you soon, and God bless, and Esto Vir.
Yeah, man. Salve Regina, and yeah, I'll come back on anytime.
If you enjoyed this episode and have any questions or comments, or would like to come on the show and discuss your faith walk or any issue regarding the Catholic Church, send us an email at feedback@theobligationshow.com. You can also catch all of our previous episodes and all of the shows of Carolina Catholic Media at www.carolinacatholic.org. Click that donate button and we'd greatly appreciate it. There are also many opportunities to sponsor the show, the radio station, and the Catholic Men's Conference. Join Sensus Fidelium, Harmony Home Solutions, and Wallach Investments, who have pledged their funds to help keep Catholic radio on the air and relevant. Sensus Fidelium is a collection of Catholic homilies, apologetic videos, and other resources to grow in one true faith. They can be found online at www.sensusfidelium.com. Wallach Investment, LLC is a strategic moral investing firm committed to placing their clients' interests ahead of their own. Their mission is to be a force of good in their relationships to make the most of their clients' investment, giving them the time and confidence to pursue their mission. Contact Daniel Wallach at www.wallachinvestments.com for more information. For the Obligation Radio Show, the Catholic Men's Conference of the Carolinas, and the Carolina Media Network, my name is Jason Murphy. God bless, and Esto Vir.